Let's automate the shit out of everything. The amount of times I have heard this over the last 12 or so years is absolutely incredible. It's like polishing a Ferrari with a flat tire. It looks and sounds cool, but goes nowhere, and therefore it's pretty useless. My name is Jody. I've been doing business operations for a while now. Formerly, I've been chief operating officer 3 times, twice at the group level. You see, I've seen the deep inner workings of more companies than most people see throughout their multiple lifetimes, actually. I believe the average human interacts with around 12 companies throughout their entire life. Well, I'm 33 now, and I've seen about 50, more than 50 now. In this video, we're going to address a couple of topics before you automate the shit out of everything. Okay, so I like to think of automation as 4 different stages. You have manual chaos, manual clarity, assisted automation or semi-automation, and then full automation. Okay, so on this side, you have manual chaos, which is just manual work and constantly chaotic. Things just literally break down every single time you touch it. You have a manual process, but everything is clear and streamlined. Everything works, everything is clear. You know why you're doing things, and things are not chaotic and broken all the time. You have assisted automation, which is just the next natural level above that. So everything is clear, everything is consistent, but some parts of it is automated. And then all the way on this end, you have full automation. So literally the process is built from end to end, and there requires no human interaction, and the process just runs smoothly. The intent is there, the clarity is there, the automation sequences are there, the workflow is clear, it's good to go. So there's a common misconception around automation, and in my opinion, basically there is a time and place for the amount of automation you implement. There's a time and place for manual process, for semi-automated and fully automated. Not everything can be or should be fully automated. There are no exact rules as to the level of automation you should implement in any given specific process. It's all variable dependent. These variables range from, your tool stack, your business model, how distributed your team is, your organizational structure, the CEO style, how much money you have to deploy, the way your customers want to be communicated to. It all really depends. When I do this line of work, I custom build it based on these specific variables. The one thing I want to drive home is if it doesn't work manually, there's no point in automating it. Automation only amplifies what already exists. So if it's already working pretty well, automation will make it run a bit better, hopefully a lot better. If the workflow is broken or unclear to begin with, all you're doing is scaling your own issues, or you're just creating a redundant microsystem. No workflow equals wasted automation. You see, a task without a clear workflow is usually a redundant task. Okay, there should be a reason and it should be documented. If a step doesn't add value directly, cut it before you even think about automating it. Okay, so the only way to see all of this and make those decisions is by mapping everything out and understanding all the steps involved, and then understanding which of the steps can be grouped in certain ways or can be removed in certain ways. But one thing that's just an absolute no negotiation, whether the system is automated, semi automated, or completely manual, every process needs an owner. You must have one singular owner of the process. This owner should be in charge of whether this process either works, doesn't work, is efficient, not efficient, whether the team is executing on it in particular. This got nothing to do with departments. It's got nothing to do with fancy titles. Anyone can be stationed to be the owner of a process, but somebody must own it because automation doesn't remove accountability. Someone has to monitor the system, validate the outputs, and handle exceptions. Without clear ownership, your automated process is running in the background aimlessly. Okay, humanate versus automate. Sometimes the answer isn't to remove humans, it might be to add the right humans in the right place. So, what I'm talking about is customer service, sensitive negotiations, or creative approvals, anything that requires human judgment. Automation should free humans to focus where they're irreplaceable, not attempt to replace them everywhere. Does that make sense? Another thing I'd factor in is weigh the cost versus complexity. Okay, so I've worked with founders who have spent a shit ton of money and many wasted months building highly complex automation sequences for tasks that could be done for much cheaper and faster with an assistant on Upwork. It's not about can we automate it, it's about should we automate it. Sometimes cheap, reliable humans is better than having an expensive system. It depends on the level of complexity. Another thing that's important is get clear on why you want to automate this step or sequence of steps in the first place. We don't wanna automate for automation's sake. It's like I've been thrown in projects where we need to implement AI. Why? We're already using ChatGPT. Yeah, but it's really manual. It's not really that manual. It's about 2 steps worth of work. It's not really worth the money and the time to get the entire team on board and change this massive automation sequence with AI implementation just for the sake of implementing AI. Okay, so the only exception to what I've mentioned above is if a singular task is unbelievably manual and just takes up unnecessary resources and time. This should be a very simple, straightforward, logical decision. Then go ahead and create a Zapier account and zap your way through your manual process. I'm not going to go in depth in this video how Zapier works, but an example of this execution would be manually inserting an entry, like let's say an email and a first and last name, from one tool into another tool in order to get it going, in order to initiate it. For example, you have a lead magnet and you have someone manually managing the lead magnet. You copy the email address from the lead magnet into the newsletter and then send an email, right? So yeah, that's obviously very manual and unnecessary. So go ahead and automate that. But then again, if you're thinking at this level, then processes are pretty clear. So if you've got a lead magnet and a sales funnel and you know what you're looking for, I mean, it already sounds like you already do, then it makes sense to use an automation tool. And therefore, we go back to the correct conditions mentioned in the start of this video, the earlier part of this video, then it means you are in fact ready and should implement an automation sequence to automate your process and make it more efficient. And honestly, if you can't be bothered with all this, I'm talking about redesigning systems to a semi-automated level or even a fully automated level. We have an offer where we redesign these custom systems for you. If you check out the link in the description, it's called Workflow Rewire. But if you don't have your systems dialed in yet, you're probably experiencing frustration and therefore you're constantly asking these sorts of questions like, why haven't you followed up with her yet? Who was supposed to handle this? Why is this taking so long? These are the types of questions you should find answers to before thinking about creating a Zapier account. If you keep asking these questions, your business is broken. So go ahead and watch the next video on how to get the actual answers to your business problems.